What's up, W Sports Podcast? Jimothy and Tubby, we are back again because you know what? It is time for another episode of This Week in Football with the W Sports Podcast. So, number one, thank you guys so much for joining us. Very excited. It's going to be a fun weekend of football, but we got the best co host in the business back here at it again. Tubby, welcome back to the show.
What is up? We got an interesting slate of games with some potential upsets.
I agree. That's what it looks like. I mean, it's the end of the college football season. We have a month left, which is sad, but exciting at the same time. And then we, at the same time, are right smack dab in the very middle of the NFL season. So you're seeing a trade deadline that happened. More on that in tomorrow's episode. A little plug there. But that is, it's just a good time. I mean, you think Big Ten football, you think November. So here we are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Got that cold weather moving in.
Yeah. In college game day this week, we're actually this is our take number 2. College game day is in Baton Rouge, I believe.
Sounds about right.
It is.
I
Okay. And
mean,
that is because Alabama and LSU are playing one of the best rivalries in the last 10 years of college football,
yeah, absolutely.
albeit a little one sided, though, right?
Yeah, definitely one sided.
So we're going to start there. What's your take on this game? Who you got winning?
So I've got Alabama winning, but this is basically you lose, you're out of the playoffs. I
It's true.
think that Alabama, even though we know Missouri isn't good, I think that game probably built up a lot of confidence for them going into this game, and then having the off week, build up some confidence, have a good week of practice, go in there and take care of LSU. I'm still not completely sold on LSU, especially the defense. I thought the defense has improved, but I just don't know if it's quite there to be, playoff caliber or even SEC, championship caliber.
Yeah, and looking at this game, Alabama is favored on the road, so that does tell you something. They are in need, though, of a lot of help if they really. I mean, they got to win out, and they got to hope. If they any
Mm-hmm.
chance for the SEC championship game, they already have 2 losses in the SEC, so it doesn't look great. And they, have this is the biggest hurdle. So I am going to take LSU in this one only because of the inconsistent play we've seen from Alabama recently. I think
Mm-hmm.
previous episodes we've talked about that too, and so I'm going to give the slight edge to the home team. But let me be honest with you, if Garrett Nussmeyer, however Nussmeyer, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, if he has a couple picks and he just can't get out of his own head, then Alabama should win this game. But I think that is the key to this one right here is force him to turn the ball over, and then it gives Alabama the best chance. I mean, that seems almost stupid to say because duh, but I think that is the
But
key.
but we talked about last week. We saw a couple of games where you looked at the box score and you're like, how did that team
How?
lose? So it could be one of those games.
Yeah. Well, another one of the really key games this weekend is another top SEC matchup. You got Georgia at Ole Miss. So Ole Miss is 16. They have 2 losses as well at the moment. So again, this is a desperate. They have to win if they want any shot at the playoff. Because right now they are on the outside looking in, while Georgia is still set up to make it to the SEC championship game. Is this
Mm-hmm.
one of those games that you're seeing Georgia right the ship, or is this more of what we've seen?
I think it's going to be Georgia somewhat riding the ship, but
Yeah,
it's
that's
one of those things where it's Ole Miss and they seem like, especially under Lane Kiffin, they fumble a lot in the big games, and I think that's what we're going to see. They're going to stumble after. I mean, last week they absolutely just ran over Arkansas, and you saw Jackson Dart and those guys just absolutely put up massive numbers, but
hmm
I just don't know if they can do that against Georgia, and they're so inconsistent at times. I
Yeah.
don't know if they'll be able to if they can put together a full game. I think they have every chance at winning this because we don't think that Georgia is quite as good as we expected them to be.
hmm
But I still think I'm going to give the slight edge to Georgia.
Yeah. I would too. I would. I mean, as much as I don't want Georgia to win because I like new faces in the playoff, all that kind of stuff, and we're gonna get a lot of those because it is a 12-team playoff. But Ole Miss, I don't know that I trust it as much, and I've seen them struggle at the weirdest times. I think, like you
Mm-hmm.
said, so I do like Georgia to win this game. I don't think Georgia's the powerhouse that we hope they would be, and I think the biggest reason for this is they cannot run the ball the way they have in the past. Same thing that's
Yeah.
gotten in the way at Alabama, who we've already talked about, is they don't have that guy that they can just give the ball and trust that he's going to get them a buck 50 tonight and 2 scores.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know if Trevor Etienne is going to play in that game. I mean, Frazier gave him a
He
good shot
lost,
in the arm against Florida, but the one thing they have to avoid is Carson Beck throwing the ball to the other team 3 to 4 times.
dude. Yeah, imagine someone's draft stock dropping
Yeah.
that low throughout the year. It's just one of the it's bad. It's almost as bad as Sam Darnold the year before,
Hmm.
or whenever he stayed that extra year at
Yeah.
USC and came back, and everyone was like, "Oh my goodness." Jake Locker, another one of those guys.
Yep.
Sorry, we could probably go down a list of these
Oh
guys
yeah,
that.
definitely.
Ooh, man, sorry, man.
Sam Howell.
Sam Howell, another good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
shouldn't have done that. All right, so let's keep on rolling the ship. Michigan in the middle of the day. All right, we got some a little bit of technical difficulties. We're gonna work through it though.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We're back. Tubby, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I got you.
Sick. All right, so I got a quick question. Does Indiana make it to 10-0 and beat Michigan?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Dude, it's gonna be wild. Who would have pegged that at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone had that on their bingo card at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, one of the cards I think that we did think about a little bit was actually Virginia Tech being a wild card for the ACC to possibly make a dark horse run. They are 3-2 in the ACC, so I don't think they're really not going to control their destiny. They're going to need a lot of
Yeah.
help if they have a shot. But Clemson just got destroyed last week, and they're on the road at Virginia Tech this week. It's going to be a good atmosphere. They are favored by 6, but is number 23 Clemson on upset alert this week?
Yeah, I think they are. I think that Virginia Tech seems like they have kind of written the ship a little bit after the early season kind of
Mm-hmm.
debacle, the loss to Vandy right off the bat, and then the kind of rough start. We expected them to be a lot better going early on, but it almost seems like they're kind of getting on one of those streaks that they got on at the end of last year, and they're going to
Mm-hmm.
start rolling. And I think Clemson needs to watch out, especially if they end up playing the way they did, last week.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very nervous about Clemson. How,
Mhm.
like, which one's going to show up? And this is a good Virginia Tech team that has bounced back as the seasons progress. They've become more who we thought they should be.
Yep.
Army over North Texas. Army actually dropped in the rankings with the CFB rankings to 25th, but they still are ranked and undefeated. Do they make it to 9-0?
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, we've talked about it. That triple option offense is so hard to scheme for, and then on top of that, you throw in the passing ability that they have.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a little too much for North Texas.
Yeah. The over under on that one is 64.5, which I'm just throwing that out there because it's 11 points higher than the Clemson Virginia Tech game.
That's wild. That's a lot of
Uh,
points.
Neither of us are betting guys, but I'm telling you, if you are, I might look at that game. Just saying.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're running the ball so much that the clock is constantly churning. So just throwing that out
Yep.
there. Oklahoma at Mizzou. A couple weeks ago, this was an automatic loss. They have the injury, obviously, to Cook. We're not sure if he's obviously going to be listed as questionable, I think, until we get to game day, just on purpose. But that's college football.
Yeah.
If he doesn't play and OU gets Pine, who's probably one of the worst quarterbacks, I think, in Power 5 football. Either
Yeah.
way, is a win for Oklahoma becoming bowl eligible, which is crazy to think that is what we're hopeful for here, Steeler fans. Is that on the table if Cook plays?
Yeah, I think it is. I think the defense is good enough, really, to put Oklahoma in any situation to win a game if they keep control of the football, don't turn the football over. I mean, we saw the South Carolina game. Despite those 3 turnovers, you only held the South Carolina offense to 11 points. This offense for Missouri, for some reason, is absolutely no explosive plays whatsoever. The big thing will be Oklahoma secondary has given up some big plays to big time wide receivers. Luther Burden is a big time wide receiver, so that's going to be one thing that they're going to have to hone in on. But I think the defense gives them every shot to have a chance at winning the game.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. If OU gives up 8 or 9 sacks, who cares? Like they
Yeah.
will lose this game. They're going to have to
Mm-hmm.
find some kind of way to run the ball. That's the key
Yeah.
for me. But I mean, to think through the momentum from an FCS opponent, but I guess the key is you made them look like an FCS opponent. Like that's the
Yep.
key. Like if you don't, then that's a problem. Our
Mm-hmm.
dynasty league that we're in college football 25, I texted you. I was like, "Well, my team beat the FCS team by 10," and you're like, "Well, at least you won." I was like, "Doesn't feel like it." So that didn't happen. That's the key.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be any other dark horse games. Oh, I almost forgot this one. My favorite. Colorado is playing Texas Tech, and it's not at night, which is what I was worried for Colorado's sake. It
Yeah.
is right in the middle of the day, but it isn't Texas Tech.
Yeah.
At,
Lubbock's a tough place to play.
yeah.
So it's going to be a very interesting game because they really need this to kind of keep hope that they can make it to the Big 12 championship game. But I think they can do it. I'm highly impressed how well the defense has turned things around this year for
It's
them.
coaching.
But yeah, we'll see. No, I was kidding.
No, dude, I'm telling you, it's coaching. These guys are
But
getting NFL coaches out there.
I mean, yeah, just because you played in the NFL though doesn't mean that you can coach.
I agree, but I do think it gives you a better shot to. Have you seen the coaching in college football lately?
Yes, I have,
It's
but
terrible. At least
I'm
they're
just
getting
saying.
guys to do stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the transfer portal absolutely helped, but I mean, I still think that there, the questions out there. Can they repeat this going forward with some of the guys they're going to end up losing this year? That's going
Yes.
to be the big issue. But Lubbock is a tough place to play, and
Yeah.
we talked about Texas Tech last week. It depends on what Texas Tech you get. If it's the Texas Tech that played against Iowa State last week, it's going to be a lot tougher game. If it's Texas Tech that played early on in the Big 12, congratulations, you won.
Dude, tickets for this game are $189.
Wow. I think
Yeah.
a sneaky game, real quick, another Big 12 game. And as bad as Utah has been this year and disappointing they've been, BYU, Utah, in state rivalry game, it's going to be heated. BYU should be on upset alert just because it is a big, massive rivalry game.
Yeah. I mean, I hear you. I think BYU should win this game, though. They're only favored by 3, so it's supposed to be a close game. It is late in the evening, but
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I absolutely believe they should win the game, but like I said, it's kind of like OU, Texas, OU, OSU. It's kind of
it's
you
just
never know
dicey.
what's going to happen. Big time rivalry game. So even a bad Utah this year could upset
Yeah.
BYU and take them out of the ranks
Yeah.
of the unbeaten.
Well, last college question before we go to the NFL, Tubby. Should they have waited to say Billy Napier will be back next year? Because their remaining schedule is at Texas versus LSU versus Ole Miss, and then at Florida State. I get Florida State's terrible this year, but it looks like they could be 1-3 on the last part of that schedule.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said nothing. I would have fired them already.
Yeah, why are we? You don't have to say it. You definitely don't have to say it. What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can understand maybe why they did is maybe to try to save recruits, but who's going to want to go play there?
This looks like a 5-7 team, and it
Yeah,
doesn't look promising.
no,
So we'll see. Maybe they upset Texas this week.
that'd be hilarious.
Dude, I'd love it. Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead. We're going to move on to the NFL. We are moving to the middle of the season. We mentioned that earlier. And tonight there is actually a pretty solid game in the AFC. It's the Bengals versus the Ravens. I would say this is not a must-win game, but we gotta win this game for the Bengals. And so as this releases, maybe they won, they lost, I don't know. But to see if they can actually be the best of the best. So far, they've really beat up on some bad teams, while the
Yeah.
Ravens have beat up on most of the teams they should beat, and they've won some of the other games too. So 6-3, 4-5. Who you got tonight?
I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I think the way Lamar Jackson's playing right now, besides some of the late game, troubles he's had, I think they're going to absolutely just smash mouth with Derrick Henry like they did in the first game, and allow Lamar Jackson to probably throw all over him like he did in the first game.
Yeah, I do like the Ravens in this one too. A lot of running the ball. The Bengals looked much better last week, but I mean, who were they
Mm-hmm.
playing? Like, come on. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see if it
Mm-hmm.
changed anything. But you go from that one to undefeated 8-0 Chiefs playing against the 5-4 Broncos. Broncos thought they were for real up until last week when they got steamrolled. Do they get steamrolled again this week? This is the only noon Sunday Chiefs home game this year, so the Chiefs better show up.
Yeah, they're gonna roll him again. The addition of DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, if he plays like he did last week, it's massive for that offense. He was able to get down the field, make some big time catches, a couple touchdowns. If that's DeAndre Hopkins they're getting the rest of the year, NFL's not happy.
Dude,
The
it's
rest
almost
of the NFL is not happy at all.
yeah, that plus the Xavier Worthy speed. You're like, why do we keep letting this happen? Like, what is going
Yeah,
on?
and just
Uh,
think in a couple weeks you're going to get Pacheco back.
I know, but Kareem
I
Huntsman,
mean,
dude, he's
yeah, yeah, they're
looking like
taking nothing away from Kareem Hunt. I mean, Kareem Hunt has been a massive addition for them with losing Pacheco.
yeah. Kareem Hunt is a very smart runner. The way he
Mm-hmm.
runs, where Pacheco is a very hard runner. He doesn't always
Mm-hmm.
wait for that space. He just I'm gonna make the space. So
Yeah.
very different style runner, both very impactful, and they wear teams out. But
Mm-hmm.
Steelers and Commanders. Commanders are on a roll, but the Steelers keep winning. Is this who's going to be the victor in this game, or what do you got?
I think it's the Commanders. I think we talked about this last week. This is a legitimate playoff contending team to really push the NFC. I think the Steelers, the defense is really good and is going to give them a lot of problems. And so we'll see. This is really, I think, this maybe besides the Bears, one of the top defenses that they've played all season. So we'll see. I mean, Mike Tomlin knows how to get into the head of those young quarterbacks. So maybe he's able to rattle Jaden Daniels like we haven't seen this year.
Yeah, I don't know what the NFL was thinking this week with the early games versus the afternoon primetime games. The
Mm-hmm.
primetime game is fine. It's Lions Texans.
Yeah.
I get that. That's good. But you got Jets Cardinals. You got Cowboys Eagles. And we got Titans and Chargers. That's your afternoon slate. And we've already gone over some of these good matchups that are going to be in the morning. So I don't understand who decided it. I feel like it was wrong. It's fine.
Yeah.
I can't watch the first half of Sunday games because I work. So it's like oh,
Yeah.
it's like come on, like the afternoon game or the evening game. So we mentioned one of those already, the 49ers and the Bucs. This is kind of a I don't know if it's a must win for the 49ers because of the division, but I do believe it is a must win for the Bucs if they really want to keep their head above water when it comes to the playoff race.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they absolutely need to win this game, and it's going to be tough. I mean, Mike Evans out and Godwin out. They're going to
CMC.
have to find. Yeah, CMC is back this week. So I mean, they're going to have to find some other weapon outside of K. Dotton on the wide out wide because if they don't, I just don't know if the offense can move the ball enough. I mean, Baker played great for the most part against the Chiefs. The run game looks solid, but they have to find a go-to wide receiver. And as much as I love Sterling Shepard, it's not Sterling Shepard.
So, not at this point in the NFL.
No.
I definitely agree though. Baker Mayfield is so underrated. People just
Yeah.
I've got to be shooting themselves in the foot for not going after the Browns. What a joke. Anyway,
Yeah.
we got the Lions and the Texans. This is a pretty awesome matchup. It's the Sunday night game, so most people should be able to watch it. Detroit's a favorite on the road. The Texans have offensively, outside of Joe Mixon, have looked rough.
Yeah.
Is there more of that, or is this a Lions team that really tries to stop the run and then control the ball with the run, and they own this game?
Yeah. As weird as it is with them being 6-3, I almost feel like this is kind of a have to get right type game because they have struggled the last few weeks and they have right now they're sitting at 2-1 against the NFC North. You lose this game, or I should say 1-2. You lose this game, you're 1-3, and the only time you beat an NFC North team was Week 2, Caleb Williams' second start. So it is one. I think it shows how strong the NFC North is, but I think this is a game where CJ Stroud has to get right, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's been tough. I don't think anybody expected him because he had all these weapons, but maybe that's the hard part. He feels the more pressure. But honestly,
yeah,
it's been ever since he big brothered Caleb Williams, he's been pretty bad.
yeah. And then Nico Collins went down, and then
Yeah,
now you got
obviously.
Stephon Diggs. Yeah, so and then Joe Mixon was out a couple of games. They just haven't been right, and that offensive line has been so bad.
It has been bad. I mean, it's the thing for the Texans for quite some time now, so they got to figure
Yeah.
that
Mm-hmm.
out. Cowboys, Eagles. Cowboys are at home. They're 0-3 at home. Do they make it to 0-4?
Yeah. The interesting thing would be is if somehow say Cooper Rush comes out and wins, then you're going to have the Cowboys fans once again going, "Well, Cooper Rush should be our starting quarterback and not Dak Prescott."
Let him think it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's got to be a transition year for the Cowboys because they didn't address some of the biggest needs that they had at the deadline. Which, if maybe you came to this episode today and you're hoping to get news, don't worry. Tomorrow on our episode, we're going to talk even more about the trade deadline. So stick with us.
Mhm.
If you have not already, be sure that you hit the subscribe button because if not, what are you doing? We're on our journey to get to 300 subscribers, and you guys are each one matters so much. So please make sure you hit that button. But yeah, till then, we'll see you all next.
See ya.
See you.